Hi and good afternoon and welcome to THFC Till I Die, your home of Tottenham, past, present and an exciting future. And maybe a very exciting one, Philip, if the news reports are correct, that we could be in the midst of a takeover bid. But more about that in a minute. Philip is just back from Qatar, trying to get the latest news from Sheikh Jassim. How did that trip go, Philip? Were you treated well there?
No, it wasn't really. No, I had to sleep out with the camels.
Did you?
All the hotels were full.
Oh well.
Yeah, put me out in
in Rome.
Put me out in the state. You know.
Yeah, well, when in Rome.
And then flying home, I had the parachute out over. Oh, they wouldn't take me to Heathrow. I had the parachute out over Leitrim.
Did you? So you basically you were a bit like James Bond then. So it's when in Rome, what's that saying, Philip? When in Rome.
When in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Yeah, exactly. But
which covers a multitude of things.
Yeah, we got a lot to go through, Philip. A lot of news breaking today. These are only rumours, but they're big enough for us to bring them to you to keep you up to date, to keep you up to date with what's happening at our famous club. Apart from that, Philip, how are you today? You all right? Having a good day?
Pass. It's one of them, Dermot. It's one of them days. Having a lot of them this week.
Yeah, I went to fix my front gate yesterday, and I've got a bad back anyway, and I've ended up fucking my back. So I'm in I've got about a cushion behind me. I'm dosed up on painkillers, just taking the edge off. Last night I had to sleep on two chairs, like on the arms of the chair, sort of sleeping like there. It was all got a good night's sleep, but it is sore. But but
that's the trouble.
Yeah, they are. So let's see who's in the chat. We've got big up the column as well to Full Time Sports Network, which we're over here as well. So please hit the like button on subscription button on both channels. And Philip, very quickly, we are going to do a Black Friday sale on the members, aren't we? Across the board. As from next Monday for 1 week only, all memberships will be at $1.99 for any new members. For the original members, me and Philip are going to come up with a little Black Friday gift for you. So don't worry, we're not going to leave you out, guys. But as from next Monday, memberships across the board for 1 week at $1.99 as we try to bring Black Friday to you guys. So big up the column as well. And he also says, when in Rome, eat pasta.
When in Rome, kick Jose Mourinho up the backside.
Yeah, exactly. I would too. And we've got Chris Welsh. Good afternoon.
Hi, Chris.
Hope you're all well. There you go. See, I'm learning to take it over from you, Philip.
Very good. I'm delighted with that. I'm delighted you're doing that.
Yeah. Am I getting better? Improvement?
You might need a bit of coaching, but you're getting there.
Okay, I'm getting there. Well, big up Chris as well. I hope you're doing well. And Chris, we may need you for the last Grand Prix of the season, where we're going to give you a bit of a taste of what's coming up on the F1 channel. So me and Philip and Chris, hopefully, and Colin, if he can get involved, we'll be doing something over there. Now, so do you want to go through your stories, what you've got in there before we get in?
Mine are pretty
or do you want to
mundane.
Yeah,
I know we'll build up to it. Then we can build up to it. Then these are pretty mundane. There's, as always during International Week, there's not a huge lot of stuff going around. Except Spurs could well be in for Wilfred Ndidi from Leicester in the summer. He's on a free transfer. His contract ends at Leicester. Now he may stay at Leicester if they're promoted, but if not, he's intimated he may want to move on. He scored, I think, 3 goals already this season, so he'd be a good addition to the squad. Just where he would play, I'm not quite so sure. But this is probably one of the first of maybe 750 rumours we're going to have between now and January and the new year for people resigning. But this is one for the summer, actually, because he'll stay with Leicester until the end of the season. And this one could be the next one. Well,
yeah, I'm just saying we've got January coming up. The summer was a headache for us. We got this contained into 1 month. We're going to have no hair left by the end of this transfer window. Either that or we're dead. But look, I think it'd be a good signing that for us in the summer, Philip.
Yeah, I think it would actually. Yeah, I think it would. He's a good player. He's a very good player. And anyway, we'll see what happens there. The next one should bring joy to the hearts of any Spurs fan.
Any football fan?
Football fan, apart from the plastics. Yeah, it's a thing that goes back to Abramovich's time at Chelsea. And according to The Guardian over the last few days, apparently they've identified tens of millions of pounds in payments to third parties, some of them connected with the club. Maybe it's off the books payments for agents or players under the counter or whatever. But whatever it is, and whenever it comes out, the footballing accountants have deemed it more serious than needing a cash fine, which means nothing to Chelsea anyway, or sanctions. What they're actually aiming at, if found guilty of all this, is a points deduction. Now, the more the merrier, I say. I mean, start with 10 and work up.
So what is the latest of the sanctions and go up to, Philip? Is it 20 points? Is it 15 points? What do you think?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's a sliding scale. I mean, the normal one is normally 10 points, or maybe 12 points. And I think if Chelsea were hit with the 12 points now, they'd be relegated, or they'd be in the guts of relegation. But then again, as Chris is saying, they'll fight it, they'll appeal it, they've got the money to appeal it. They can be found guilty and still end up with no points deduction. But we'll see what happens there. But they are under the investigation of UEFA, and it's not going to finish well for them, whatever way it goes. But points deduction would be the ultimate sanction. But let's see what happens.
And is it from the Premier League or away for?
No, this would be the UEFA. I think this would be the UEFA.
And Premier League as well, I would say, will be involved in this.
Oh yeah, of course they'd be involved. They'd be involved in it. And sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself here, but yeah, like it would be I'd say all leagues, and the Premier League would have to be involved, because they'd be the ones that would actually deduct the points,
Yeah. So let me get this right then. It was Rand Abramovich was in charge at Tottenham. So is it sending money to a third party company, an offshore company? Is that what it's being done for?
What it could be, now again, no one knows the full details of it, but what they've identified is millions of pounds going from Chelsea, right? It's to circumvent financial fair play by not putting it's off the books transactions.
Yeah,
they could be paying. Say Chelsea signed some guy from Juventus, right? They paid 20 million for him, right? There could have been 5 or 10 million under the counter to the agent and the player as a signing on fee. It didn't go through the books. Stuff like that, it's stuff that they try to hide.
For back in the day,
pretty much, yeah. We got done for something like that, but we got kicked out of the FA Cup back in the 90s for that, but we got reinstated. Yeah. But this could be, but it's worse now because they've all been watching Chelsea since they all knew Abramovich was red rotten, and the Chelsea was run like a mafia organization. And now now Abramovich is gone. It's tough on the new owners, really, when you think about it. They had nothing to do with all this. But they're going to have to bear the brunt of whatever sanctions are brought down on the club, because the crime doesn't die with a change of ownership.
Should it though? Should it die with the change of ownership, Philip? Or do you think whatever happens, if it's the club that should bore the punishment, not the previous owner? But do you think it should be the previous owners that should bore the punishment, or
the previous owner has already been sanctioned because of his connections to Putin in Russia? So I don't know what any more sanctions would actually do. That'd be immaterial because he's gone from the club now. So the unfortunately the crime has to go back on the club, however unfortunate they would be. But then again, they should have known when they were taken over from Abramovich to check that, look under the counter, not just above it, because there's certain things were going on there. We all knew things were going on at Chelsea. Yeah. And now it looks like the proof is coming out.
Yeah. And as I said, we got done for it back in the late 80s under Scholar. We knew all that was going on through the 80s and then the 90s when they come up when Sugar came in. Chelsea, we know other clubs do it, Philip. So why can't UEFA for the Premier League now just say, right, Man City, Chelsea, you're getting done for this. We're going to make you an example out of you. Why can't they do that? Why are they so scared about making an example? Look, we've got even here, Philip. Chris says apparently Everton's set to get 12 points deducted according to their local journalists.
Yeah, that's and I feel sorry for Everton. I feel sorry. That was pure bad management that happened to that. Pure bad management.
Yeah.
But see, what's going to happen here is, right, they're going to punish a club like Everton quicker than a club like Chelsea and Man City. They'll take the easy option and punish Chelsea because they don't have the funds to employ the hotshot lawyers to go through every word of every contract to find a loophole in the law that they can exploit. Because that's what Man City did in the past.
So my question to you, Dan, Philip, is there too many loopholes then in the laws of the game at the moment?
No, not being a lawyer, I can't really say, but I would imagine there probably are, because I mean they deliberately left that little bit vague to get various interpretations of it, and that gets clubs like Man City off the hook. If they were written tight as a drum, they wouldn't be doing getting off the hook. But we also had City got away with the ban; they got fined, which is equivalent of nothing really when you think about it. So the only way to hurt these clubs is to deduct points from them, or in City's case, ban them from the Champions League.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and
as
a
well
big
as
up to
deducting
Corey.
points.
Yeah, exactly. Big up to Corey Boy. Haven't seen you for a while, so big up. Glad to see you back. Hope you and the little one are doing all right. And big up. Great to see you in. We've got Chris says, well, Romano has already started rumours when the window closed. Yeah, well, Philip's just back from Qatar, so do you know he will go and his latest travel trips will be coming as he went over there as the Minister for Foreign Affairs for Tottenham Hotspur. We've got Matthew. I am very happy right now with my cricket team and the national team. India is in the Cricket World Cup final. Well, the best of luck to India.
Yeah, they were winning. They were winning well the last time I looked, and New Zealand had an impossible task to get. So I presume the game's over now, and
is that the final today, or is that them in the
final?
No,
semi-final. It's a semi-final.
Yeah,
semi-final.
Yeah. So big up to India. Dude, done well.
Well done, India.
They're fanatical about
cricket. They're fanatical. They're out of it. Afghanistan did very well. They took a couple of great scalps during the tournament, but now it's down to the big boys now, minus England, of course. They didn't get through.
Chris says Chelsea won't get a points deduction. I don't know. Probably 1 point. He's saying you don't know.
Yeah, half a point.
And they were saying it says Everton will get points deducted, but other teams won't. It won't make it. It doesn't.
We just have to explain that. It doesn't make sense, but it's the big teams get away with murder.
Yeah. We've got Tequila. If you don't want to spend the time, don't do the crime. Exactly. It says Chelsea always damn being cheats. It's in their DNA.
Yeah.
Colin's saying it's because the lawyers are too damn Dermo. We've got so teams like City, Madrid, Barca, Bayern can all get away with this shirt makes you laugh. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
We've got Tequila.
The rules should be the same for every team, regardless how big or small you are. But that's never going to be the way, unfortunately.
We've got Corey says, I don't go by any in the nose unless I see it on the official site. Well, I differ on that. I know the fellow we use, Philip. I have to say he's been spot on, hasn't he? He's never let us down yet.
No, a few things he said haven't actually come to fruition yet, but he's never been wrong that I'm aware of. You know, some of these things take time to come to.
You look at the Harry Kane stuff, right? You look at the Harry Kane situation. We broke that a week before it happened. And then the amount of crap me and Mia got from it saying you don't know what you're talking about, a week later it happened. So do you know what I mean? He's never been wrong, our fella. So Cotillia says at best a Colin, big up Colin as well. Colin says Romero is a tap in what's that, Philip?
Romano is a tap in merchant. Yeah, some of the stuff he's been coming out with lately has been a bit off the wall now, to be honest with you. But anyway.
I find to sit in Chelsea is like putting your kid in the naughty step for 5 minutes. It's nothing.
Exactly. I mean, nothing to them.
Exactly. Now, Philip, we leave the other bit to left. Now, this bit, I knew this might get your blood boiling a little bit. UEFA are reportedly considering inviting Saudi Arabia club Al Nassr to the 2024-25 edition of the Champions League, as it's considered one of the 3 most popular clubs in the world. So I sat there. No, be kind. Be kind. Be kind.
They're hardly the 3rd most popular club in Saudi Arabia. Never mind the world.
Be kind.
What are they thinking?
Be kind,
what
Philip.
Are they thinking? No, I won't.
Be kind. Be kind. Be gentle.
Oh, lovely.
Be gentle with them.
God.
Be gentle. It got me thinking, Philip. Have the Saudi League already now got 1 foot in the door for Champions League football for the whole?
If they let that lot in, they have. Yeah, if they let that lot in, they have. Come on, but you mean to say this club that up to last July no one had even heard of is bigger than Manchester United, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea. I could go on for maybe 50 clubs that are more famous than Al Thingy Bob. Like whoever came out with that tagline now must have been on the white lines of powder last night.
When I saw it, right, when it was sent to me this morning, right, I thought I had to put my glasses on because I thought, am I seeing thing? The third most popular clubs in the world, and I'm thinking, I never heard of them until this.
Exactly, no one else had either. No one else had heard of them until last summer.
I didn't even know Nuno was managing them, to be fair.
Well, he's not anymore. They're only sixth in the league at the minute, apparently. They've dropped, they won it last year. They're sixth in the league. Now, for UEFA to say the third most popular club in the world, that is absolutely dishonouring and absolutely slandering clubs under the UEFA banner at the minute. It's more to go away, lads. We've got, whoever thinks of number 1 and 2 and 3, forget about it. Al Nassr are there now. Goodbye. God.
Colin says no, north of 5 billion tequila. That's how much it's. We've got Chris saying UEFA are hypocrites. It's funny. It is. Tequila saying, "Hello, how much did they pay them to say that?"
Exactly.
Colin saying no indonos can be 100% accurate as things change on the daily basis, but they just let people know what they know at the time, and it's our job also to let people know what we know, isn't it, Philip? It's our job to report the news. We are, in a small way, sports reporters. That's our job. We're a sports football channel, so that's our job. It's our job. Corey says,
light on here.
Yeah, Grand Philip. Yeah. Corey says, I keep saying all teams should have a salary cap. I agree with you, Corey. They should do. I'm absolutely 100% behind that. Every team in the top division have the same wage budgets and so on. So teams like City, United, Chelsea, Madrid, Bayern, Barca can't poach all the young players. I agree with you on that. I think they should have a salary cap. I think also should be a transfer cap as well, that a team cannot spend a certain amount of money. Now, I know the likes of Everton won't have the same spending power as a Man City, but they do it in Formula One. They have a cap in Formula One where a team cannot spend to align with their budgets. So, where do you go on this, Philip? I mean, Corey Boyd does have a good point here. Salary caps should be brought in for every team in the top division. Can you see that working, Philip?
It'll be strenuously objected to in an awful lot of places, especially the players that are getting 300 or 400 grand a week. It's a good idea, and it's probably the only thing that will stop a financial crisis hitting football over the next 5 years. Because if anything happens to the Sky TV money or other TV money, then where's the clubs going to get the money to pay these guys? So it's a great idea. It should be in place. I think it's in place in the NFL in America, whatever they call the soccer league in America. I think they can only play so much to so many players, and the rest are on a salary cap.
Yeah.
But again, that can cause division in the dressing room as well. So it's a tricky one to work out, but it's a good idea.
Should there be a transfer cap as well? Where I know Everton not in the same transfer budget as Man City, but surely the big team should have a bit of a transfer. You cannot spend beyond this much.
I think there's more chance of a wage cap coming in than a transfer cap, to be honest with you.
But would that balance out the playing field?
Well, it would mean to be less money spent. I mean, let's face it, with very few exceptions, the transfer fees paid for players at the moment are way, 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 way above their real value. We pay 25. How much do we pay for Richarlison? 60 million. What's he worth? 20 at most.
Yeah.
So that would have an effect. But I mean, whether it's implementable or not, I just don't know. The huge rule change.
I always said Richarlison's a small fish in a big pond. Whereas like an Everton or say West Ham or something like that, he'd be they can build a team around him. Look, it has started off. We've got Colin said, I saw that today as well, made me effing laugh. Invite the Saudis to Champions League when they're not even in the top 15 countries to enter it. We've got Chris says, time to remove European UEFA name. I think so. Colin said teams coming into the Champions. He said teams coming into the Champions League. Can you smell the Super League?
Yeah, it's a roundabout version of it. It's a roundabout way of getting the Super League going again.
There was a salary in the 70s. Does you mean the salary cap in the 70s?
70s, yeah, because in the 70s, I mean, let's say in the 70s, there was you're only guaranteed electricity 8 hours a day, and the lack of petrol shortages, everything. So yeah, things were different in the 70s, and there would have been a cap. I'm not sure how long it lasted, but it would. I think it would be unworkable now, to be honest with you. But it's a good idea. It should be put in, but I can see a lot of clubs objecting to it.
Yeah. And then, Chris, as people want like my opinions on the Super League, I actually want it if it gets rid of UEFA and FIFA. Now, where does that go? Where does that leave then the governing body and the European governing body, Philip? Because you got FIFA, who we know had all the corruption things come out before the Qatari World Cup, which was well documented. There was a Netflix documentary about it. We all know about the previous president and his lackeys that were well funded for their services. You got UEFA as well. Michel Platini was found not guilty of corruption. Yeah, let's put that right. He was found not guilty. Do you think corruption and football has always gone hand in hand, or has it got worse since the likes of, what was his name that was president before the last one? He was a Brazilian. What's his name?
Havelange.
Do you think that's where it started coming in under his watch? Or do you think it's always been there one way or the other?
I'd say Stanley Rouse, he's the one I remember. He was president of FIFA back in the 60s. At that time England won the World Cup. I think after that, maybe when he went, I think things may have started going south a bit. And there was obviously the option to make it it was open to corruption. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
From brown envelopes and giving tournaments because of favors granted and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd say around the 70s it probably started. But Platini and what's his name, Blatter. They. I mean, then again, look at them. They were found guilty, brought in the hotshot lawyers, and then were exonerated more or less. So proving it is going to be shocking. But the thing is, you're not going to get rid of UEFA and FIFA because they're going to have to manage the other clubs that are left out of the Super League. Someone has to look after them. So no matter what way the Super League happens, UEFA and FIFA are still going to be there.
So what? Look, does there have to be a major restructure of the world governing body? And why hasn't it happened? Because we were promised a root and branch restructuring of FIFA. It hasn't happened, Philip. The same thing's still happening. UEFA as well, the same things are happening. You've got a Champions League that's now gone into a semi-Super League from next season. It is a Super League in all but name. You've got a World Cup that's been expanded for the next World Cup with more teams in it, more matches. You've got the Champions League now playing more games. Is player welfare being looked after, Philip, or is it all about money? Is player welfare the last thing anyone thinks about? Because
it's all about money.
But they're going to get burnt out very quickly.
Yeah, they don't care. All they'll say is there'll be another crop coming along behind you. It's all money now, completely money.
So look, I'm going to say it now. Does it have to take a player dying on the pitch for anyone to do something?
I don't think it's going to come to that, but I think what it might well come to is the players might decide that they're going to down tools. They go on strike. Too many matches.
But the point I made, Philip, I'll explain my point. You look at Christian Eriksen. He had something wrong with his heart, right? He didn't know he had something wrong with his heart, right? So you look at the amount of games players are playing at the moment, and if they're playing more, and he has, say, a heart problem that he doesn't know about, and they can link it to him playing too many games, then surely UEFA and FIFA have a obligation to look after these players, shouldn't they? And Philip is gone. Don't know where he went. But yeah, should they? Let me know in the chat what you think of that. Do they have an obligation to look after these players? I think they do. I think UEFA and FIFA have to put player welfare first, because without the players, there's no game. Do you know what I mean, Philip? There's
Yeah.
there's no matches. So look, as I said, Christian Eriksen had his heart problem. How many players out there have got heart conditions they don't know about? And if they're playing 60, 70, 80 games a season, and you train
yeah, but the thing about that is, you look at most of the clubs, okay, the clubs in the Premiership, whatever, they have state-of-the-art medical facilities. Players are constantly monitored for stuff like that. And if somebody has a heart complaint, it'll show up in their medical when they join the club. I'm sure they're monitored throughout their time. The odd one will get through. It happens suddenly that nobody can predict. That's what happened to Eriksen. And some guy in Albania died of a Ghanaian fella died on the pitch there at the weekend in Albania. That's always going to happen, but they might not necessarily be trackable. It could be just something that happens there and then, and you're gone. You know.
Yeah, but surely then, Philip, UEFA and FIFA should come out with something with better technology, with better ways of looking out for these things, because it's again player welfare.
But the clubs have that technology. The clubs have that technology. The bigger clubs have it. Anyway.
Not all the clubs. Yeah, the smaller clubs.
Oh no, they wouldn't all have it. They couldn't afford it. They couldn't afford it.
So then surely should there be a way of spreading it around? This is where FIFA and UEFA should be doing their bit to help smaller clubs with this sort of equipment, to help player. Do you know? It's for me, it's all about money, and it's all it is. Yeah, go on.
I'd say giving smaller clubs grants for medical facilities to check their players' heart condition, whatever, is so far down FIFA's list of priorities. It's not even on it.
No, it should be though.
Anyway,
it should.
Oh yeah, it should be, but it ain't. It ain't.
No. Corey Boy says in the NFL they have a salary cap on all teams. In the MLS they have a special rule on players, say Bike, Messi, and so on, coming to the division.
Yeah, that's right. You can pay so many big salaries, and the rest small.
Big up Steve D. He says, are the charges against City not slightly different in that the mostly for not providing paperwork on time rather than financial? I think it's a bit both, isn't it, Philip? If I'm right,
I think City may have delayed things going in. I think the Chelsea one is purely on irregularities, but again, it'll all come out in the wash. It's only at the sort of reporting stage at the moment.
Yeah,
it'll all come out.
Chris says I just had enough of UEFA and FIFA. To be honest, I think we all have.
Tequila
said City get more cases again, and then goals scored than past few seasons. We've got columns saying if the Super League happens, it will fall under the governance of the guidance of UEFA. Still, I believe.
Well, they won't. They're going nowhere. They're going nowhere.
No. A lot of people. Heated Seth Blatter and Platter, whatever. Yeah. Tequila's also.
And you know who was another guy? Do you remember the guy in America, Chuck Blazer?
Yeah,
he did he was probably the most corrupt of the lot of them. Yeah. He absolutely cleaned everything up.
Did you see?
Cleaned up, not cleaned everything up.
Yeah, he had a room just for his parrot. He paid for a hotel room for his parrot.
Oh God, you couldn't make it up, could you? Yeah,
just for his parrot.
It wasn't a Norwegian blue like the one in Monty Python, was it? No?
I don't know. Champions League next year is going to be bad.
Anyone knows Monty Python know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The Champions League next year is going to be bad. I don't like this new system. How about you guys? I hate it.
No.
I hate it.
Too many games.
And this falls back on the player welfare, Philip. You've got 38 games in the Premier League.
Yeah.
You've got 38 games in the Premier League. You've got 8 games in the FA Cup if you get to a final. The same in the League Cup. And then I don't know how many games you got in the Champions League. I think it was 12, 13, 14 games to get to a final.
Well, it's 6 to get through the groups. And then you've got a quarter, and then 7, 8, 10, 12, 13 games.
Yeah, but it goes into a league system next year.
Yeah, but the moment it's 13 games. But, do you remember years ago when there was no blanket coverage of TV on soccer on football on TV? Used to enjoy watching matches. Now that they're coming on with such monotonous regularity, unless you really want to watch a certain team playing, it's just boring now. Not boring, but it's not as excitable as it used to be.
Yeah, I remember back in the day of the European Cup, right? You won your league, you got into the top competition. You played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 games, home and away. The final was a one-legged affair, but the rest of it was home and away. And if you lost in the first round, you were out the European Cup. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
We got Chris said Aguero had to retire early due to heart problems. He did.
Yeah. Right.
Being about money for decades, Chris, you're right. And then Corey says, like that Brighton player 24 had to retire at 20. Yeah, he did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, Mr. Brady, we got a bit of news this morning. Now, this is only a report. This is all we can say. But we got Qatari billionaire businessman Sheikh Jazam is now considering are more likely to make a move to buy Tottenham from chairman Danny Levy after his failure to buy Premier League rivals Manchester United. Now, Philip, this what was sent to me this morning. Now, the 41-year-old who's currently the chair of the Qatari Islamic Bank offered $8 billion. Now, it says $5 billion there. Me and Philip checked it out. It's around about £7 billion. We worked it out to be.
Yeah,
It's around between 7, just under 7. So between 5 and 7 billion in cash to wipe the Glazers' debt and provide new facilities for Manchester United in exchange for the club in its entirety. But his offer was rejected. Now, outright. My question to you, Philip, is why? The second question is, are they completely off their trolley? And my third question is, have they got any brain cells between them, the Glazers? Because why would you turn down nearly 7 billion where you know you're going to make a profit and you get all the wipes, you don't have any debt? So you're walking away basically with 7 billion in your hip pocket.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah. I think the problem there is the Glazers like to have this regular income coming from Manchester United, which will stop once that deal went through, if it did go through, which is not now going to. Whereas the deal with Jim Ratcliffe means they're still going to own 75% of the club, right? And still going to be bleeding it dry every year, like they have been for the last 15 years. So I think that's what they're looking for. Rather than a one-off payment to go quietly, they'd rather stay and pick up their 15 and 20 million a year, whatever they do out of the club. And although to me, if Jim Ratcliffe is half the man I think he is, Jim Ratcliffe should be able to stop that looting of the club, if you like. You know, like obviously only 25%. The Glazers aren't going to get as much out of it as they have been getting out of it. But it's a mystery why they didn't pick up the bigger offer. It's obviously because there's not as much in it for them in the long run.
No, and one thing about Jim Ratcliffe, any club he's gone into, Philippines, they've been successful at. He owns a club in France. He's never been really successful within the sports arena that he's gone into. And
well, yeah.
Do you know, look, he's only paid 1.6 billion, which is 1.3 billion for 25% of the club. So I still doesn't understand why would you turn down 7 billion and accept 25%. I agree with you. It is to milk more out of Manchester United. But on the other hand, Philip, he's now they are looking at other clubs. But Tottenham is the top of that list. Do you think, and it says here, I read the best of it, it says, since the Mughal has been touted as a potential suitor to buy Spurs after Levy admitted that he'd be prepared to leave his position in the club if the price was right. He explained, I've got no real interest to leave Tottenham, but I have a duty to consider anything that anyone may want to propose. Is it a case of, Philip, that Sheikh Jazam will have to make an offer that Levy cannot refuse?
Looks like it. Like, what would you say? Like, he offered 8 billion for Manchester United. 4 billion do it for Spurs?
I'm hearing 4.5.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah, that'd be all right.
4.5.
I think an offer like that, Levy would find it very hard to turn down.
Yeah. Now, what I also heard this morning, Philip, was Qatari. They're due to have the Qatari next step is to have a meeting, which is said to be scheduled in for some point this month to discuss options for a takeover of a Premier League club. As Sheikh Jazam would still like to own one of the three. There are other clubs on the shortlist because of West Ham, and I think Everton are on that shortlist as well, and I think Liverpool are there as well. However, it is said that Tottenham Hotspur are top of that list. Why do you think Tottenham are top of that list, Philip? Is it because of the stadium? Why do you think? Why do you think Tottenham are at top of that list when you look at other clubs that have been more successful than Spurs?
Yeah, but Spurs have got been for the foresight that Levy had in putting a multifunctional stadium there. The NFL alone is
Yeah.
worth millions every year. The rock concerts, the boxing matches, they're things other clubs haven't been able to utilize. The West Ham, for example, they were mentioned as a possible uh, victim for him. West Ham don't own their stadium; they only rent it. So he's buying a real proper bit of real estate there. Now he could probably buy West Ham a lot cheaper because they don't own their ground. So when he buys Spurs, he's paying the debt on the stadium. He's buying everything else, and he's also got himself guaranteed income apart from the matches there for whatever length of time he's there. I mean that stadium's only used for 19 weekends a year when you think about it. 19 home matches, 19 away.
Yeah.
So there's so much time that can be used for other things like Guns N' Roses. I hear AC/DC are coming to town next year. That'd be a great one to get for the stadium. So things like that they can make a fortune.
AC/DC are coming to Tottenham Hotspurs.
There's rumours they're coming to Dublin next year. So I presume they're going to be going to London. So
if they're coming to Dublin, I'm definitely going to that.
Yeah,
if AC/DC, well, I'm definitely going to that.
But that's what. But there's extra money in the game for extracurricular activity. That would be a huge draw.
No, I didn't say Shake Shazam. I didn't say. I don't know if I did or not. Did I say Shake Shazam?
I don't know.
I don't know. Look, how would you feel about a Qatari owner, Philip?
Well, I don't want to be hypocritical about it. Like we all give out about the human rights abuses before the World Cup and everything, But if you're on a sliding scale of definitely don't want an owner, Qatari wouldn't be as high up the list as Saudi Arabia. So from that point of view, listen, we just have to get on with it. It would be not wholly acceptable. But the other thing too you got to think about is it would actually be quite amazing for a technically Jewish club, Jewish owners, to sell out to an Arab country. It would be glasnost of the greatest. It'd be of the highest degree. It'd be huge. It'd be a huge leap of a good way. I'm saying it's in a good way of cooperation between the two enemies, basically, as they are in various parts of the world at the moment. So it'd be a huge thing, I think, for Spurs to be taken over by an Arab club.
Do you think also the Qataris look at like Saudi Arabia own Newcastle, Manchester City are owned by Bahrain, the Bahrain royal family? Do you think there's a little bit of competition between them all? I want to come in and I want to do better than the Saudi Arabia owners and the Bahrainian owners. Do you know what I mean? Do you know there's a thing that they want to be top dog in that league?
Right.
And that do you think so? Do you know they're coming in? We've got 3 different Arab states owning 3 of the biggest clubs in the Premier League. Okay.
Yeah.
You got the Bahrainians own Man City, Saudi Arabia own Newcastle, and then potentially
it's not Bahrain owns Man City. It's Abu Dhabi owns Man City.
Oh, Abu Dhabi. It's around that area. You know what I mean, Philip. And then you've got potentially the Qataris looking to buy Tottenham.
Yeah.
Could you see them thinking, do you know what? We want to make this club the best in the land and beat our Arab neighbours. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There could be something along that back line as well, that they think, look, we can make this club the biggest club in the world.
Well, I mean, let's face it. Whatever they buy the club for, okay, we're going to expect them to spend a good percentage of that on doing a Man City on us, buying the players that we need to be successful. And like it didn't take Man City long to start winning things once the Abu Dhabi boys came in. So I can see the same thing happening if Qatar take us over. Let's face it, they're a bottomless pit when it comes to money. The same as Saudi.
If I'm going to be hypocritical and look at it the other side, Philip, is it bad for football that they're coming in to buy our football clubs? Is it a case of no? Look, the point I'm trying, the devil's advocate point I'm making is, you can go into a club, right, wipe its debt and everything, but are we then becoming too reliant on oil-rich countries and oil-rich individuals or billionaires to come in to run our football clubs, where fans now these days demand success in an instant? We want success now, and the longer a club doesn't win anything, the more the fans demand that success straight away. Are we falling in? Are we going to fall into that pit where that trap where they're going to come in, let's please the fans, but the hell with the consequence? What's going to happen 10, 15 years time if everything goes belly up?
Do you think the normal Spurs fan is going to give two tuppenny tosses if Qatar come into us and we win the double in 2 years' time? They won't care, right? No. But what Qatar is doing here is cute, and Abu Dhabi and whatever. They know the oil's running out in years to come. It's not going to last forever. What they're doing now is they're diversifying into other interests that can make money for instead of the oil. So they're putting their money now to create income streams that when the oil eventually does dry up. So that's why it is. But as for ruining the game, I think another couple of foreign owners isn't going to kill it. I mean, it's a 13 out of the 20 clubs are owned by foreign owners at the minute.
Yeah, right. I am going to do my research for tomorrow night's roundtable discussion at 9. Of course, join me and Philip for that. It's a new show coming out tomorrow of owners of the teams in the Premier League in 92-93 to the owners now. And I guarantee you there'll be very few English owners owning football. Apart from us, I can't think of anyone
else. They can't afford it. They can't afford it. You know,
Look,
it's
Look, I'm going to ask you a question, Philip. Right? Was Blackburn the first team to buy the Premier League when Jack Walker won the Premier League? Do you think he was
probably? Yeah, it probably was. That's 2 years after it came into existence. Yeah, it probably was. Yeah, he probably set the precedent there. And he was English, which is quite strange. An Englishman that had money to put into it. I think you'll find there's very few English owners. There's no English owner at the moment has got the wherewithal to match what's coming in from the Gulf states. And that's why I think.
To be fair, Philip, we've got English owners that don't know how to spend money either. To be fair,
well, you know, Finn, I give them credit. They built the stadium. We're better positioned than most clubs.
Yeah.
Really, you know, we are better positioned than most clubs.
I know that, but I'm just trying to be funny, just trying to be flippant.
I mean, I'm gonna be absolutely hypocritical here and say if Saudi owners now, I'm too long on the tooth to be waiting. If Qatari owners took over Tottenham and we started doing the Manchester City, I'd be saying hallelujah.
Yeah, I know.
Because we're waiting 15 years for a trophy, and I don't want to wait much longer.
We've been waiting how long for a league championship?
62 years. Say that slowly. 62 years. We're 32 years waiting for an FA Cup.
Hang on. I wasn't even thought of when we last won the league. You were only a little boy in short trousers.
I was only
toddling.
Yeah.
And then the last time we won the FA Cup, I think I was just turned into be a teenager.
You were just becoming awkward to your parents.
I was always awkward to my parents. To be fair.
Yeah.
We've got Andrew saying camel racing would be another revenue coming into the club.
They'd be an awful mess on the side of the pitch, wouldn't they?
It would. Didn't that happen back in the 60s or 70s? They had greyhound racing around or was it Horse of the Year show? They did it 1 year before a League Cup.
They did the Horse of the Year show at Wembley and completely ruined the pitch. I think that was about 1970 or so. Yeah.
Did they do greyhound racing back in the day at Wembley as well?
They probably did. Yeah, there was a greyhound track around the old Wembley. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So
they could do it at West Ham as well. They could do it at West Ham as well. They could blow bubbles at the dogs on the way around, you know.
Yeah, well, you have to have binoculars going to that stadium. So all Barons it is. You can't beat him, join them. I tell you what, I reckon Tequila Wish J.R. Ewan will take over the club. That's who he reckons. And by the way, Tequila, did you get in touch with Mia over the Jaffa Cakes, or are you leaving that with Wayne Bonner? Could you let me know, please? That's all right. I know what's going on between there. We were describing Mia yesterday as Mrs. P. Escobar of the Jaffa Cake world. So if you watch yesterday's show, you will get that. You will get that. We've got Chris laughing, and then we've got Tequila. It was all a dream, Dermo with JR. Yeah, it was all a dream.
Right. Yeah.
Dallas started brilliantly, ended on a whimper. Do you know what I mean? It was so bizarre ending.
It was good. It was so corny. It was good, you know.
Yeah, it was. Look, where do you very quickly before we end, Philip, and we are going to because look, we're going to talk more about it tomorrow night. But we've got VAR, Philip. The audio came out for the Newcastle Arsenal thing last night. The order for Tottenham Chelsea came out today as well. That was leaked, which I sent to you. Now we can't.
I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet.
No, we can't show the videos now. What I can do is put what they talked about on the PDFs, but until I get permission, which I'm waiting for at the moment to show the footage, we will. But Philip, did you listen to that? Did you listen to that audio from the Arsenal game? And did that?
No, it's the same. I haven't had a chance, Dermot. I haven't had a chance.
Right.
I literally came straight from work onto here, so I will listen to it afterwards.
When it came to the Tottenham Chelsea thing, they already pre-made up the mind Romero was going to be sent off.
Yeah.
Right. They said Van de Ven miskicked the ball. You could see clearly he got the ball. He just followed through.
And he was so close to the Chelsea play. His leg couldn't go anywhere else.
No.
You know?
And with the, where are you standing with VAR, Philip? We will go into it more tomorrow night. Where do you stand on it?
I'd love to stand on it and jump up and down on it until I broke it. That's what I'd love to stand on it.
Can they fix it? Can they fix it?
Listen, the system itself is brilliant. Providing they bring in this 3D offside thing, I'll add to it. But the problem is every person operating has a different viewpoint on it. And that is the problem. It's a different outlook on what, whereas Anthony Taylor might give that offside, Michael Oliver won't. That's it. You've got to have complete unanimity in decision making, but that's never going to happen because everyone has a different view. It is a great system, but as I said, it's a fantastic system operated by monkeys.
Yeah, exactly. We've got Kev Williams. Big up, Kev. Hope you're doing well this afternoon, Domo and Philip, with a big thumbs up. So big up, Kev, for that. Spurs is regarded as being a Jewish football club. So would that be an issue with the Saudi takeover, in your opinions? Look, I think Philip said it brilliantly earlier. I think if the Qataris and Tottenham did come to do a deal, I think it would be a way of showing they can do business. But I think it's for what's happening in football. I think it's two completely things, Philip. I don't think there's a lot made out of us being a Jewish club. Really, there's not
not as much as there might have been in the past.
No, put that to a side. I think if you're looking at it from a company's point of view, and Curry Boy says it here as well, says put aside that history of us being a Jewish background, we should be run as a business. And if another company wants to buy you out, you should listen to them at least. And he makes a very good point here, Philip.
Yeah,
and so
that's
does
what it
Kev
should
Williams
be
as well.
Yeah, you see, what's happening now is nowadays business is business. Whereas before it might have been saying, "Oh, we can't do business with him. He comes to the wrong side of the track." That's all forgotten now. If you've it's hard-nosed business talk now. If you've got the money, we'll talk to you. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your religion is, or whatever. That's the way it should be.
And look, we'll discuss it more tomorrow night, Philip. But on the last point before we end off, can you see this happening?
Dermot, I am pragmatic. That I believe I'm a bit like Doubting Thomas. I believe it when I see it. When I see but I think there's probably legs on this one.
I think
now,
there is.
How long it takes to run the race is another day's work.
Look, I look, when I got this, I wouldn't have run it. I don't think, Philip, without having my sort of thoughts on it and thinking, look, this has got legs on it. And that's why we ran with it, because I think it has got legs in it. Look, you got to put in also in the background of this, you've got the Joe Lewis court date coming up in court over in America for wherever he's been up to. Is Levy been involved in that, Philip? We don't know. How does that affect Tottenham? Now, we know Joe Lewis doesn't own.
I doubt it.
But he could have done, Philip. He could do. He could have some involvement somewhere along the line.
But then again, he's not on trial. He's not on trial. So even if he has, it
could be named. It could be implicated, if you know what I mean. Within.
Well, if he was implicated as being part of the deal, he'd be up on the dock with Lewis at this stage.
Yeah, but maybe to they do their investigations, he might crop up. I'm just using it as an example. Philip.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, but tell me, you'll find that they did all the investigations before they actually charged Lewis. And so if Levy was in there, he'd be in the dock as well.
Yeah, but he doesn't own Tottenham. His family does. But does it still make it awkward for Daniel Levy in the long runs if this was the if this is coming up now, and he's good? Somebody's come in to pay him say 4.5, 5 billion for the club, and he's looking at thinking, if you were him, would you be thinking, I'll take my money and run now before this thing blows up? Because
he could do. He could. He said, like he said, he's no intentions of leaving, but he's also said if an offer comes in, he's duty bound, honor bound to listen to it. So yeah, it's quite possible. Yeah, it's possible. This could be the beginning of the end for the Levy Lewis ownership of Tottenham, or the ENIC ownership of Tottenham. And as I said, I mean, then they say the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. But if the devil you know is a bit tight within putting the money into the club, and the one that's coming in behind him has loads of it, then which one are you going to go for?
Yeah. Do you feel that Tottenham is the sleeping giant that they've wasted their opportunity at Tottenham, ENIC and Levy? Do you think they've wasted their chance?
No, I don't think so. No, I mean, let's face it. If we were still sitting in the ground like Old Trafford, it's fallen to pieces, and not having a decent training ground, they've made massive strides in certain areas. Now, the areas we'd like to see them making massive strides on, i.e. on the pitch, that hasn't happened yet. So from that point of view, yes, they have, they haven't been successful. But I think all it takes is you've got everything set up there for someone to come in and revolutionize that club and really, really have us hitting the high spots very, very quickly.
Yeah. So you're really looking at somebody coming in and giving Ange, look, here's $1 billion. Go and buy who you want.
More or less saying you now have an unlimited transfer budget, but we want him gone, him gone, him gone, him gone, and him gone.
Yeah.
You can't just be carte blanche. You've got to do it, you've got to do it within FFP, obviously. But you've got to get rid of players before you buy in players.
So really, you want to be a bit more like Newcastle, how they've done it. Saudis have done it at Newcastle.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Do you think
they've been fairly I expected them to go absolutely fucking mad. They haven't. They've been very, 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 very conservative and done good business. Done very good business.
Yeah. Have they impressed you how they've done business up there, Philip? Have they?
They have actually. Yeah, they have actually. Yeah, they have. I'm reluctantly say yes. They have. They have impressed me.
Yeah. Well, look, we are going to go into this. Is going to be a discussion tomorrow night. We're going to talk about VAR. There's going to be more talked about this and what it means for Tottenham and what it means for the future of Tottenham, what it means for Daniel Levy, what it means for the Qatari bid, what it means for Manchester United with their takeover. Football's never boring, Philip. We all know that. Football, always something happens every day. But are you afraid of the way the game's going before we end off this last question? Are you afraid how football's going? Because you look at the Champions League changing next year into a Super League all but name. You look at these massive billionaires coming, oil-rich countries taking over our football clubs, our institutions. You're looking at players going through over 100 million now. That's the normal rate for a transfer fee, or 60, 70, 80 million. What? Look, you look at football back when you were a young lad, and I remember back when I was a young lad. The football now, if you could go back and tell your younger self what football's like now, what would your younger Philip Brady say to you now? If you could go back, say, to when you were 12 or 13 or 14 and seen the likes of Jimmy Greaves and Alan Gilsine and Bill Nick and the way football was then, Brian Clough, and the way they played then, to football now, do you think your younger self would be, I'll get away with yourself, that's never going to happen? Or do you think, would he be a bit shocked? Do you know what I'm getting at? Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, no, it would. I mean, I think if somebody back in the end of the 60s, early 70s saw what was going on today, I think it was a science fiction film. Totally unbelievable. Now, when you consider Jimmy Greaves never even earned as much as £100 a week playing football. Yeah. Just think about that. Yeah. The best striker probably we ever had in our lives never earned more than £100 a week. No. Okay, that was still a lot of money in those days, but relatively speaking, the most average player in the Premiership now is earning maybe 10, 20 times what Jimmy Greaves earned in a week.
That's shocking.
And it's ridiculous. Yeah, ridiculous.
Look, Philip, and look, you and me have been around long enough. Look, I'm 46. You're 46 as well. You're looking well for your age. You're 103. Are you sure you're 103? See that woman in Ireland today, 109 years old. She's the oldest woman in Ireland. It's her birthday.
Coming to me bingo tonight. Is she coming to me bingo tonight? I wonder.
Yeah. She'll probably chuck your knickers at you, and you have to start ducking, Philip. But look, we are going to talk about this tomorrow. I'm looking forward to this discussion tomorrow, Philip, because I think there's so many ways we can go with the discussion and use your. Please take this in the right way. Use your knowledge and your history of the game longer than I have, and where you can go back to a time where it was simpler to play football.
Yeah.
Where I don't know how much it cost you. How much did it cost you and your dad to go and watch Tottenham, say at Birmingham or Wolves? How much was the tickets?
I remember now, and I would have been only maybe 6 or 7 or 8, 9 or 10 at the time. My father had a problem with his foot and he couldn't stand on the terraces, right? So he used to go up to Villa Park and he'd go into the stand and he'd pay 7 and 6 in old money and throw me over the turnstile without going through it. So I'd be sitting on his knee in the seat, sitting between the seat. 7 and 6, which is what? 37 and a half old P or new P.
37 pence.
37 pence. See.
And how much does it cost us to go to Tottenham now?
60 quid.
You have to take out a second mortgage. I swear.
Even the programs are £5.
Do you remember when we went to Tottenham last time? I went round looking for a program, and none of them would accept cash. It was all paid by card.
Credit cards. Oh, Jesus. That's got to be with the days. In the old days, with nothing but cash, and you wouldn't know how much of it ended up in the club's coffers either.
Yeah. No. But listen, we are going to end it off there. Thank you all for watching. It's been a great show. I've enjoyed this. I wasn't supposed to be here, but I'm actually glad I was, because I've had a good discussion with you, Philip. Now tomorrow we've got the round table discussion at 9. So we're going to talk about a bit about this, a little bit about VAR, a little bit about, and we're going to touch a little bit on the European qualifiers as well. We do listen. I don't know if you're around on Friday, Philip, but the under-21s are playing in the European qualifiers. So I was thinking of doing a watch along on Friday at 4 o'clock if you're around.
No, I won't. But I'll tell you why. I have to be somewhere on Friday afternoon, so I won't be here Friday afternoon.
Well, I may be doing that. We may do a watch along for England, for the England people that watches for England game if you're around Friday evening.
I might be home Friday evening. All right.
Yeah. And then Saturday, of course, we'll be doing the watch along for Ireland away to Holland. Me and Philip are going to put ourselves through it again.
Is that on Saturday? That's all right.
That's on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then,
of course, morning,
yeah. So, of course, Philip then is off going over to America to do a bit of debating, do a bit of diplomacy work on behalf of THFC till I die. I'm going over there thinking to get a bit of an American investment. He's going over to talk to Donald Trump, funnily enough. See, can he?
No, he's not.
So he is.
Quit while you're ahead, Dermot. Quick while you're ahead.
I'll just go through some of these comments. Andrew Chris says, boxing, football, politics, never a boring week. No, it isn't.
No, that's true.
The politics side of it's been very interested in the UK. I've been absolutely amazed by that, what's happening over there. It's a funny old game, says Andrew. We've got Tim Lee says, yes, football is on a scary ride, a sports washing arms race, basically. We know Levy isn't spending the same as the Middle Eastern or American owners, so let's hope Andrew Cooten gets it right. We've got Tequila War. What is it good for? Music plays. Yeah, Philip is not a day over 21. There you go, Philip.
I wish.
No, you
Thanks,
are.
Tequila.
It was Philip's birthday yesterday. He was 22 years of age. He's looking well.
He was.
Steve Cartwright says, I can't remember when it was 25 pence to get into a ground and an extra 6 pence to get into an exclosure. Tequila says, you don't want to watch England game, Dermo. We are so boring. And then Corey says, only truthful actions around politics was Guy Fawkes.
Guy Fawkes, gone bonfire night. Yeah,
we all know what happened to him. Now, Brad's joining us, I think, on Friday night. Look, we don't know. We may do that. We may do an international Cockerel Clock podcast. We may do something to build up to all the European games and go through who can qualify, who hasn't. Saturday, we're doing the watch along. We're going to do our pre-game thoughts, our predicted lineup, of course, with the Ireland stuff. Me and Philip thought we'd just have a laugh and just put everyone into a bit of misery about Stephen Kenny, as he now goes into his last 2 games, Philip, as Ireland manager. Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
And so on that bombshell, we'll leave it there. We're back tomorrow at 4, of course, with Newsbeat.
See you, lads.
And then we're back tomorrow at 9 o'clock with a roundtable discussion. Whatever you do, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Thank you all for tuning in. Please remember, like, subscribe, pick up your memberships and share. Let's get to 2K before January the 1st. Whatever you do, enjoy yourself. Come on, you Spurs. In Philip Brady we trust.